Hey guys, welcome to the Deansy Boys Show. I am your host, Reece Deans, and this is this is my first podcast for tonight. Here's the thing. I'm going to be talking about loads and loads of stuff here, and you're probably wondering, what is this guy doing? He's coming on this podcast. He's going to talk loads of crap. He's going to be talking loads of bollocks. Yeah, probably you are right, but this is actually my very first podcast show, the very first episode of the Deansy Boys Show, and I hope you enjoy it. What I'm going to be talking about, well, I'll tell you. I'm going to be talking about wrestling. That's basically it. Wrestling through and through, and you'll be probably wondering now, oh God, this guy's going to be talking about wrestling. I've had enough. We've got enough of that with Stone Cold Podcast, Cabana, Chris Jericho, etc., etc. But that's something that I like to talk about when I go out. I like to talk about wrestling itself. I just love it. I'm passionate. I'm a die-hard fan, and there's nothing more to say about it. But also, I also like to talk about films, football, boxing, or etc. So, if this goes well and you guys like it, or if not, and you hit the dislike button on YouTube, then that's fine. I'll just close down straight away. But nah, I'm still gonna carry on. But this show is going to be mainly about wrestling because I've got no other topics to talk about. If I talk about football, it'll just be controversial. And, so controversial enough, I'll probably have a death threat or something if I just said, like, Sepp Blatter for life or something like that, Anyway, cut to the chase. It's all going to be about wrestling. And this episode that today is actually going to be about me as a wrestling fan, and also I'm going to be talking how I got to become a wrestling fan, sorry, nerves kicking in, what do you expect, and how I grew up watching wrestling, how wrestling changed my life, how it affected me, how it became a drug, going through all that kind of stuff. And basically, it's going to be quite a story, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying speaking about it and speaking to you guys now, because, you gotta give me time. This is actually the first time I've ever considered doing a podcast, and the reason why I wanted to do a podcast was because, how should I put it? It was basically Cabana. Cabana. It was actually him. Now, before you say, right, he said Cabana, right, he's going to talk about the Cabana interview with CM Punk about his moments of what happened in the WWE. Well, no, it was actually when Cabana came to Cardiff at the Cardiff and Film Comic Con, and I attended the event, and I met Cabana, and he's a nice guy, he's funny, he's full of joy and laughter, and I had a great time talking to him. But also, he invited the people who attended the show to come and listen, to come and watch and listen to his podcast. And his guests were Hardcore Holly, David Odd Smith, and there was a referee who used to work for the TNA. I can't remember his name. It'll probably come back to me, but I'm not too sure. But anyway. So I thought, I'll go and just have a look at it, just see what it's like, and fair play. It blew me away. I thought it was so fun. It was full of laughter, and since then it kind of got me thinking: should I do a podcast? And should I do one? Should I not do one? Will people like it? Will people don't like it? So there was loads of questions, and I thought, you know what? I like to do it as a hobby. I gotta do something with my life because I've got a life. Wrestling fan, what do you expect? Ha ha ha. But yeah, and this is why I'm doing it. And ever since after the Cardiff and Film Comic Con with Cabana, etc., I just decided, you know what, I might do this podcast. So I started listening to more, just get some ideas. I asked for people for help with ideas, get me going, etc. And to be honest with you, I am not in a studio. I'm actually in my bedroom. All I got is my laptop and my microphone, and I'm going to be talking to you on here. And this is going to be fun, right? I mean, it's it's just me with this microphone and my laptop, and with probably my grandparents downstairs thinking, what the hell is he talking upstairs? He's on his own. He's got no life. Yeah. But so I hope you guys enjoyed, and let's get crack on then. Right. First of all, I wanted to go back in the 1990s when was it 1996 when the Attitude Era came along, when Vince McMahon introduced the Attitude Era. Now 1996 was the year I was born in, and ever since you know I grew up watching the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era, you know, and now the PG era, which I think is shit. That's my honest opinion. I think the PG era we got today is full of crap, full of cheesy storylines, cheesy everything. Even the wrestlers. I mean, I can only name a handful of talented individuals who are actually working their asses off and actually can deliver good promos, can deliver good moves and everything. And well, basically, that's what I mean. I can only think of only a few people who could do it. Cesaro, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, etc. Now, going back to the Attitude Era, when I was about, it's amazing how I can remember this, when I was about 3 or 4 years old, I sat at home and I was watching the wrestling, and it just caught my eye, and I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with it from the moment I laid my eyes on it. You know, it became the love of my life. Yeah. And what also got me going was when it was that match with Mick Foley and The Undertaker at a Hell in a Cell. I know it was 1998, and you probably went in. You were only 3. You probably can't remember that. Well, it was also one of my favourite matches, and I remember watching it was when I was like about 5 or 6 years old, which I can remember watching it, and when The Undertaker threw Mick Foley off the top of the cage and through the cage, you know, that was new, that was amazing to me. I thought, this is amazing, you know, I want to do this, I want to do this shit, you know, I want to become a wrestler. Wow, a 5-year-old little kid saying he wants to get himself beat up and everything. So that was one of the matches that caught to my attention a couple of years later, from 1998, when the actual match held itself. So since then, I've been collecting wrestling figures. I've been collecting wrestling DVDs. It cost a lot of money to go to watch the live events. I only went to a little handful of independent circuit wrestling. I did have the opportunity years and years later. I think it was just after the WrestleMania Revenge tour, after the WrestleMania that had Floyd Mayweather and the Big Show match. That WrestleMania, I think, guys, if you want to comment the WrestleMania, what it was with Floyd Mayweather and Big Show, thank you very much. I can't think of the top of my head because I'm actually nervous talking to you guys right now. But I went to watch it, and I remember Shelton Benjamin versus Kane for the ECW title. It was, the main event was a 6-man tag team match. It was Edge, Mark Henry, and the Great Khali versus Big Show, The Undertaker, and Triple H, I think it was. I think it was. But there was other good quality matches as well. And as growing up watching it, you know, I was a big fan of Mick Foley and The Undertaker. They were my 2 iconic heroes, and also Big Show. Big Show was another hero of mine. I mean, like some of you guys might think, oh, but Big Show, he's crap. You know, he's crap today. Well, you got to think, right? He's been told what to do. You know, he hasn't got the free will to go out and do whatever he wants. He's actually being told by the writers, by Triple H, by Vince McMahon, to be crap. You know, but back then he was a monster. You know, he was 7'2" at the time. He weighed over 300 pounds. You know, this guy was enormous. He was a badass at the time, and it was amazing to see him actually do what he could do in the ring, and especially with the Undertaker as well. The height for being like 6'11", 6'10", 6'11", and doing all these high flying maneuvers, doing all these moves that nobody could see this big guy do. It was incredible. And Mick Foley, I mean, he was an underdog wrestler. I mean, you can relate to him by having, like, how can I put this? Mick Foley was like a Daniel Bryan back in the day. If you want to take away the high flying maneuvers, but he did dangerous stuff, and he actually did things that no other wrestler could do. I mean, like dangerous stunts, barbed wire, explosions, chair shots to your head, flaming tables, and people can relate to him being like a true underdog. Like, he can't do it, and yeah, he done it. He won the world title. He had a big success in the WWF at the time that it was called, the World Wrestling Federation, and it always caught my attention, and that's what I really liked about the wrestling, was that there was these guys who were willing to risk their lives in the ring, and see if they can wrestle for another day. And sometimes careers can be cut short. And growing up watching it was a fantastic thing. And I have had one or two people coming up to me growing up, and they're saying wrestling is fake. Okay, I get it. It's fake. But is it really fake? That's what I debate to people today, is it really fake? Because when you use the term fake, that means it's not real. Now, what I mean, where I'm going from is actually that when people say wrestling's fake, the moves are fake, the flying's fake, and I just went, yeah, but are the wrestlers fake? Are the men and the women in the ring fake? And people will go, no. And then you'd say, well, if the wrestlers aren't fake, but are the injuries fake? They'll be like, oh yeah, but they get injured all the time. I mean, but it's not the point, though. I mean, saying it's fake, it's like saying that the wrestlers were made out of Play-Doh. These guys can actually get hurt in the ring. I know they have to try and take a bump in the ring, and then they have to pretend they're hurt. But I mean, like getting clothes on, bodies on, jumping off the top rope. You're gonna hurt yourself one way or the other. Their bodies are not really like Superman's, where they're made out of steel. They're not gonna get hurt. They gotta try and take a bump, walk in the back, and then do it again the next day in a different area. And what I'm trying to say is that wrestling is neither real nor it's fake. I can just say, look, if you were watching a film or a television show, now let's exclude wrestling now for the minute, because I know wrestling is a big television show, but if you were to go and watch a movie and you started to cry in one of them, or you started to get excited out of it, that means you believe it. That means you can actually believe what's actually in front of you. And if you turned around and said, wow, how did that guy do that? How did this? But this character, using the character's name, this guy did. You believed it. And then, like, going to the theatre as well. I mean, you're drawn in by this realistic environment where the actors are right in front of you. They're playing this character that you are led to believe that he or she is actually this person, and that's what wrestling is. And I'm no wrestling geek, yeah, but I haven't got this strength and knowledge that I actually know the business, right? I only know what I think I know. Guys, if you think my opinion is lame, shit, or stupid, then I will respect your opinion. But this is what I think. The reason why I still watch it today is because it's entertaining. Of course, it is entertaining. I grew up watching it, and it's hard to stop watching it. I remember I went through the times when I actually did stop watching it for a few weeks, because the reason why was because they kept using promos all the time. They were speaking more than what they were actually going to do in the ring, like when they were going to wrestle. I thought the promos were longer than the wrestling matches itself. I used to watch Friday Night SmackDown with my grandfather, and well, my bamp, who I call. I'm from Wales, by the way. You know, it was just, it just got to me. I thought I lost the passion, and I sold all my DVDs. I even sold my posters. Oh, sob story, you know, I sold everything. I thought I'm not going to get back into it until I think a month or two later, you know, I started looking up on the results again. I started to talk to people more about it, and I just thought, you know what, it's not gone. It hasn't disappeared. It's never going to go away. So I figured, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to keep watching it, keep doing what I love to do, and it's that, to love wrestling, to watch it, you know, and just to be a big fan about it, you know. I mean, some people are not interested in wrestling no more, and that's fine, you know. I mean, I'm not forcing anyone to love it or hate it, you know. I mean, it's up to you guys to decide whether or not you want to watch it or not. To me, I love watching wrestling. I think it's a brilliant thing that's going on television now. I mean, it's wrestling, and I mean, that's what it is. It's just there to entertain the fans. Now, going back to me as a wrestling fan, I mean, just growing up watching it was unbelievable. You know, I went to watch all the independent stuff, and the moves they done were phenomenal. I mean, some of the matches as well. I know, like, true wrestling is where you grapple each other, you body slam each other, and you can't use weapons. But at the same time, these special matches like TLC, hardcore, street fights, I Quit matches, you know, the bloody matches. And I know it's a rare thing to see now in the WWE, but there's other barbaric matches going on with blood and guts flying around the place, you know. But that's just like wrestling entertainment. You get different styles of genre of wrestling going around the places, and I haven't stopped watching it ever since, you know, apart from that little short period of time, and through that period I have met loads of wrestlers. I mean I've met I've met Kurt Angle, I met Ryback, Boo Goldberg. I mean, I've met, who have I met? Like Juventud Guerrera, Roddy Piper, God bless him, you know, may he rest in peace. You know, I've met quite a lot, and oh yeah, Cabana, of course, Cabana, Sabu. You know, I met quite a few people, and I'll tell you the one story when I met. When I said before, Roddy Piper, I mean, it was coming up to my birthday, and my mate Ashley sent me a message saying, "What are you doing in August?" My birthday's in July, actually. And he messaged me in June time, and I said, "Oh, I'm not doing anything in particular. I'm not doing anything." And he said, "Well, can you book this date off, or can you not do anything on that date?" And I was like, okay. And I turned down a lot of requests from my friends saying, "Oh, you going out on this day?" And I went, "Nope, I got my friends telling me I can't do anything on that date, you know, it's a surprise." "Okay, yeah, no worries, you know, etc. And as the date finally came around, they wouldn't say anything until the day came. That's how funny about it. They just kept it as a surprise for me. They kept it away from me, and they said on the day when we were going into Cardiff, they said, "Do you know the reason why we told you to not book anything else on this day?" I went, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, we've booked tickets." I was like, he's going to say wrestling. I know he is. And of course he went, "We booked tickets to see a question and answer interview speech," whatever it was. And I thought, oh, and then they said, "It's Roddy Piper." And I went, "Oh my god, Roddy Piper, the former Intercontinental Champion, WWE Hall of Fame, the legend, the badass of the 80s, you know." I was like, "Oh my god, we're gonna meet him. And like, oh yeah, we're gonna meet him. And we got to the Glee Club, which is a comedy area in Cardiff, on the Cardiff Bay Area. We got in and we queued up to actually meet him in person first before he went on the stage to go and do his speech and question and answers. And when I got to the point when I met him, he smiled and he was like, "Oh, look at this guy," and he was like, "Oh, you're a handsome fella, ain't you?" And that's honest to God, he actually did say that, but that's not me being rogue. I'm probably not handsome anyway. But he said, "Oh, nice to meet you." I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you, Mr. Piper." Yeah, I didn't say Mr. Piper, I just said Roddy. And we had a picture and had an autograph of him, and then we went to go and take our seats, and then I sat there for 2 hours, I think, just listening to Roddy Piper speaking, telling stories. And when it got to the question and answers, I actually asked him about the moments in one of the WrestleManias he competed in against Goldust in a Hollywood brawl match, where they'd done a weird version of the O.J. Simpson car chase. And I thought to myself, you know what? This guy is awesome. And of course that was last year, and this year has gone by, and sadly Roddy Piper is no longer with us. He passed away, and I was really gutted. I felt, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that to happen. I don't think anyone is expecting that to happen at all. And I felt a bit heartbroken, really, because I only met the guy last year, and he was such a nice guy. It had one of those effects where you think, you know what, this guy can't go away. He can't disappear off the face of the earth. And it was very, very emotional and sad that he actually did pass away. And I just want to say right now, may you rest in peace, Roddy Piper, and God bless you, man. Thanks for everything. And another story I'd like to tell you guys is when I met Kurt Angle. I met one of my actual heroes, in fact, because I grew up watching the Attitude Era. He was coming in as a bit of a rookie, the Olympic gold medalist, the American Dream, even though that's Dusty Road, but he was a sort of American Dream in some way. And I thought he was like an American icon, and I met him sometime in November this year, and paid £50 or £55 for a ticket. And when I got there, I had the opportunity to meet him, and I was so surprised, really, when I actually walked up to him. I was a lot taller than him, and he just looked up to me, and I was just like, "Oh, hey, kid, you're down there." I thought I was going to look up, and wonderful guy. I had a nice chat with him. He signed a picture for me, shook his hand, and it was really amazing to actually meet him, and to meet the guy I actually watched when I was a kid growing up, with him doing the angle slam, the ankle lock, and this former WWE world champion, the former TNA champion, the former, God knows what champion, and the Olympic gold medalist. Growing up and meeting him, I was like, oh, amazing, absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you this funny thing was when I was queuing up, there was this guy. He had to be in his mid-20s or early 30s, and he approached Kurt Angle, and all of a sudden he started to cry. Out of nowhere, out of the blue, he started to cry. A full-grown man crying in front of Kurt Angle, and I was like, dude, seriously, this guy is Kurt Angle, and you're crying in front of him. He probably would angle slam you or something like that just for crying, and we couldn't help but laugh, and probably some people would think, that's a bit rude, and he's met his hero, but it was just something that just came out random, it just popped out of nowhere. It was just one of those moments you weren't expecting it to be, like in an environment, that kind of environment. And I mean, that's the sort of thing that just wouldn't normally happen. And when he told us the stories about him in the WWE, TNA, etc., and it came down to the questions and answers, I held my hand up till it went numb. I thought, right, it's gonna pop off in a minute, and the guy came over and I asked him a question on his match with Shane McMahon at King of the Ring. Guys, if you actually want to know, want to see that particular moment where I asked him a question, it's on YouTube. Just type in Kurt Angle on Shane McMahon and just type in Deansy Boy Show, etc., and it's on there. You can watch it. But in the first 2 or 3 minutes, you'll be listening to him talking about his WrestleMania moments with Brock Lesnar and Shawn Michaels, which is actually good to listen as well. And he tells us a very good story about his planning and his journey in that match with Shane McMahon. And it's a very good story. And you may think it may drag, but I think it's worth listening to every bit of it. God, I'm running out of ideas to speak now. What should I talk about now? Oh, probably not, because you guys are probably thinking, come on, just get on with it. But I'll tell you more about this podcast thing. I will be posting a few voiceovers through the days. I'm not going to post every single day. I'll probably post once a week or once a fortnight. You know, I'll do my best to do some of these episodes. But this show will be mainly on about wrestling, how I feel about it, what I can talk about, like the matches that will be coming up, just any topic really. And I know you guys, when you expect a podcast, you'll be having special guests here. I'll try my best, you know, I'll try my best for you guys and give you the benefit of listening to other individuals who've been in the wrestling industry. But not only that, I don't want to go and talk about wrestling a lot. I want to go on and talk about other stuff as well. So there will be a few episodes where I won't be talking about wrestling. I'll be talking about football or soccer if you're listening in America. I'll be talking about films, and I'll be talking some stuff about boxing probably. You know, there'll be some episodes where I'll actually go off the point of wrestling and into new material and new topics for you guys to listen to, because quite frankly I get fed up talking about wrestling all the time. I want to go on and listen to something new. It's like when I go out sometimes with my friends, sometimes they'll talk about wrestling and I'll talk about it for hours, but then again I'll probably talk about it for like 30 minutes and then go on to something different, because I will get bored easily, and probably you guys as well. So you would think, oh mate, come on, talk about something else. But if you got any ideas, you know, for what you want to hear and for what you want me to talk about, you know, just leave a comment below and I'll get back to you guys soon, and I'll read your requests and see how it goes. Hopefully you have listened to this, and please forgive my my stuttering or like my use of words and etc., because and my pauses, because it's the first episode I've ever done, and it's new for me, and I'm gonna try and get used to it as much as I can throughout the last remainder of 2015, and then go on to 2016, and hopefully this will be good for you guys as well. And I'm not used to radio that much, you know. I'm used to going out on stage. Actually, I'm used to, well, I still do a bit of amateur dramatics and every now and then, and you know, I sometimes get a bit nervous when I'm on the spot, or I put myself on the spot, to be honest with you. But guys, I'm gonna have to conclude it there, to be honest with you, because I've actually run out of ideas. But hey, I hope you guys have listened to this, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have, talking to you guys and talking about my stories as becoming a wrestling fan and meeting a few wrestlers. Hopefully I'll post another podcast soon and be about wrestling again. if you want to find more about me, just have to follow me on Twitter at Deansy Boy. On Instagram, Reese Deansy. It'll be on YouTube. I'll just show you my Twitter name and my Instagram name, and hopefully I'll get back to you soon. You have listened to the Deansy Boy Show. I am your host, Reese Deans, and I'm wishing you guys a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good night.